recording in progress, right? This is recorded. It does go into my YouTube channel. That might change, but because of data privacy, I have to announce that it doesn't go public. It's under a private link, but if people know the link, obviously they can see it. So it's for the memorabilia of the guest, the featured guest, but you can share it with whomever you wish. And if people want to see the recording, if it's okay with the others on here, then there's no problem. If you don't want to be on the recording, then you can hide yourself. But I mean, it's not something I'm going to advertise and post out there. But if the link does get exposed, then just be aware. Okay, right. So I'm just going to announce quickly how this works for anyone that's new. And there's no one new. Lorraine, you were on before, weren't you? So you know how this works. Okay, so it's just a weekly show, 1 hour spotlight on the guest in combination with 𝗏𝗏𝗏. So there's normally someone from 𝗏𝗏𝗏, Marilyn, you're representing 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Okay, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is the platform that hosts, maybe you can say just a few words quickly, if you want.
Yeah, sure. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is pretty much the all-in-one platform for the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We're a combination of a lot of different subjects. Sorry, my mind is still in my previous meeting. I'm trying to focus, but it's I'm really bad today. Anyway, so you have a lot of opportunities there for networking, for event hosting, for uploading your offers and needs, finding the right connections to accelerate your business. So I'm working there as community manager. So we're helping people finding the right connections.
Excellent. So if you're not already on, you can join. I'll put a link in the chat. Jeanette, you're not on yet, are you? Right.
No, I need to look at it. I have heard about it, but I just haven't looked at it in detail. Thank you.
Okay, it's optional if you want to join, but if you do join, it's a community of like-minded entrepreneurs all trying to help one another. So you'll see some interesting events and things like that as well. So, and then we also have our guest, a singer every week, right? It's Emily, and Emily's going to kick this off. So Emily normally sings and plays the piano or something, either with a guest, but this week she's got a special singing guest, because I guess you can't sing with that mask on. Emily, I can't hear you.
Hi everybody. So here today I have the wonderful Mia, who is going to sing a song for you. She's just started learning it, so I think she's very brave to sing in front of you guys today, and I hope you guys will like it. I'm sure you will.
Okay, so Mia, hi Mia, how old are you?
I'm 9, and I've been singing here before.
Wow.
She sang when I did the camp, and the kids.
Oh yeah, so you're already a celebrity. Right. Okay. Excellent. So did she see the recording?
I don't think I've sent. No, I'm not sure I saw it actually.
Yeah, you should extract that bit out and let them have a copy maybe. But anyway, so Emily, you are the star, right? So we're going to hear your song. What song are you singing today?
Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Oh,
favorite song.
Excellent. So in your own time, right, and when you're ready, you can start this.
Someday I wish upon a star and end up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops, way above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me. Someday I'll wish upon a star and end up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops, way above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me. Over the rainbow, birds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why I can't fly? It's happy little bluebird beyond the rainbow. Why, oh, why can't I?
Bravo. Excellent. That was
Wow.
that was a long song to learn. So you've only just learned this? You've just learned this song?
Yes.
So how much training did you have?
Not very much.
Not very much. Bill, you excellent. I love the way that you go high and low, and I like the arm movement and everything. Really excellent.
Got a very strong, powerful voice.
Yes, but you sing a lot.
I can't stop, and everybody's so annoyed in my class because it's impossible for me to stop.
All right.
Keep singing, keep singing. I wish I could hear it live someday. I love that song, me. It's my favorite.
Really?
Wow.
It's a beautiful song. So, yeah, congratulations. So I hope you can come back. Will you come back another time and sing again? All right, excellent. Okay. So you were wonderful. Very good. I love it. So congratulations. And we'll see you another time. Okay. So we'll send you the code. Just Emily, I mean, yeah, although it was fantastic, sometimes the voice faded in because of the microphone, I guess. So then the piano became louder than the voice. But I mean, it was still, nevertheless, it was excellent. Just need to maybe check that out.
Yeah, I'm not at home with all my equipment yet.
All right, okay. But nevertheless, it was a fantastic song. So well done. And have a great weekend.
Right.
And yeah, keep up the singing and come back with another song next time. And if you want to bring someone along with you, then that's also possible. If you've got a friend that you want to sing with. Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thanks, Emily. Right. Okay. So Emily just popping in and popping out. Right. If she can't make it, then she normally gives us a recording. So to have something to play. Anyway, we better get a move on. So Paul, thanks for coming. All right. Was it me that reminded you of the time, or were you planning to join anyway?
From week to week, I can get it right.
Sorry?
From week to week, I can get it right. Sometimes it changes and times, and I don't know. I get confused because I'm deep dark in South Africa.
Okay. Right. Right. Isabel's from South Africa. So if you don't understand Paul, then Isabel can translate, can't you? Okay. Anyway, without further ado, let's move to our 52nd guest. Right. Jeanette Potts.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Right. So Jeanette is going to tell us, before she goes into her business, she's going to tell us a bit about who she is and where she's from. So I'm just going to guide her in the way that steer the kind of the conversation, because we want to obviously get through this and get to the end, but we might have to go on a slightly different journey to get there, depending on if the kids disturb me from outside, right? So Jeanette, first of all, where are you living now and where are you from originally?
So I live about 20 minutes from Geneva. I've been here for 16 years. We live just over the border in France. The only way really to have a home with some space and garden area. So very close to Geneva, but just over the border.
And you're originally from?
I'm from Dublin.
Wow.
But I left when I was 20, so that's another story. But yeah, I think people still say I have a bit of an Irish accent. I don't know. I think
yeah,
that's good though, right?
Yeah.
After all these years. So yeah, I'm from Dublin. I actually grew up in Dublin.
In the city?
About, I don't know if you know Dublin, James, or
yes.
I know Isabel's been there. So about 30 minutes on the train, there's the DART, Dublin Area Rapid Transit or Transport. Anyway, it's this green train. It's really cool. So it's about a 25-minute drive, further driving or train ride in the suburbs of Dublin. But it completely transports you to a different world. Dublin City is amazing, but we had the opportunity, my parents, amazing people, gave us a fantastic opportunity to live in a village called Dalkey. My school was on the seaside. It's a lovely, charming village. So about 10 minutes walk from Dalkey village, and so really a beautiful spot in the suburbs of Dublin. But as I said, very easy to get into the city.
Yeah, I went many times, and I worked for actually an Irish company based in Dublin. So, and they had some events, and we went to the first event. We went to the Guinness Museum.
Yeah.
And then the next time we went to the Jameson Whiskey Museum.
Cool.
And I always thought Jameson was an Irish whiskey, but it's actually origins from Scotland.
True. But yeah, there's a lot of whiskey and Guinness and pubs in Dublin.
Yeah.
As we said before, but yeah, and it's also that area is also actually the foothills of Wicklow. So Wicklow is like the next county, but beautiful places in Wicklow also, amazing, like Powers Court, the hills, the forest, the lakes.
Yeah. The
it's
Wicklow
actually
Mountains.
Quite close together.
Isn't it the Wicklow Mountains?
Yeah, it's lovely there. It's a really beautiful part of the world.
And they showed us kind of around that area was where they get the water for the Guinness. It's not actually from the river in Dublin. The dirty river.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not from the Liffey.
Yeah, exactly.
You can smell it though. And when you're in Dublin City, you can smell the Guinness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you end up at the top now. I don't know if it's changed now, but right at the very top with a good view over Dublin.
Yeah, that's actually quite new. That was built, well, maybe 20 years ago now, but new. When I was growing up, that was built.
So you spent a lot of time in the bars then around there.
Yeah, well, I left, up until when I was 20. Yeah, exactly. Actually, I'm not joking. In the village where I grew up, I would see people like Bono, Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah, exactly.
They were actually from the area I grew up in.
I was just going to ask that about Bono.
I'm not joking. That's like, we saw them. I'd go out with my friends and my sister and whoever, we'd go to the pubs and we'd see.
So you didn't
in our local pubs.
You didn't date Bono then?
No.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, when we went, because you can get the bus trip and it takes you to the Wicklow Mountains and it takes you around the coastal area and it tells you who lives here.
Oh yeah, well, that was near where I grew up then.
Yeah. So
it's
that
a
was
beautiful
great.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I grew up.
Jeanette, Bascaden.
Sorry?
Bascaden, which is quite near to Dole.
You'd have to spell that. I don't recognize the name, Isabel.
Well, I just don't have the Irish twang.
Yeah, that's what I do. I don't recognize it. Sorry. Okay, I'll have to get it from you, and I'll look it up. Thanks.
Yeah. So anyway, so you moved
So-
when you were 20. You moved from Dublin, but before you moved, I mean, you've got siblings as well. Any
Yeah,
brothers?
so
or
I'll
sisters?
come on to the how I moved away and why. So yeah, I grew up in Dorky. My parents both working. My mum was actually very briefly on this. She was amazing. She is amazing. She was actually the only female on a government planning authority board, on board Planola for many years. So very much ahead of, in terms of when we talk about now, gender equality. She was the only woman for years on this government board, environmental education and planning. My father worked in the civil service, and then he became a barrister later. I have a sister who is an architect, artist, kind of cultural education, combining these three areas all together. So very, very unique. And I have a brother who's also an architect, but also very into photography and film direction. And my other brother is journalist and works for one of the big radio and television companies, RTE. So quite
Wow.
different.
But all they're still in Ireland.
They are. They actually went abroad for a while, but shorter than me, and then settled back in Ireland. Yes.
I guess once they got a new airport in Dublin, it was easier to get in and out.
Yeah, they were more like they kind of traveled for a bit and went abroad and came back, whereas I actually kind of went abroad and stayed. So that's the story. But yeah, they're all still in Dublin. I'm hoping after 2 years to maybe see them later this year.
But they do come out and see you.
Yeah, normally, yeah, pre-COVID, they usually visit. My mom visits a couple of times a year, and my brothers and sisters as well, like once a year. We usually see each other maybe once a year, twice a year with my nieces as well, because they're the same age as my kids. But it's not a lot, but we do try and get together a couple of times a year.
I guess it's good connections between Dublin and Geneva.
Yeah, 𝗪𝗡𝗥.
𝗪𝗡𝗥.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
Right.
Swiss Air actually as well too. But yeah,
Yeah.
hoping to see them all later in the year.
Okay, excellent. So do you have siblings? Children?
I do. I nearly forgot there for a second. You're good. So I have a son. His name is 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥. So good Irish Celtic names. He is going to be 16 in September.
Wow.
Can't believe it. I know. He actually overtook me this year. Like, he's taller than me. Yeah, so I'm now the smallest in the house. They make fun of me now. My daughter just turned 14 last week. She's also quite tall, and is taller than me as well. So yeah. So they're 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛 is her name. Actually, Lorraine, Welsh name. Her name is 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛, my daughter. So yeah, we picked nice Celtic names that the French and Swiss unfortunately can't pronounce very easily and have different pronunciations, but that's all part of growing up in a different place. They do have the Irish passports because they were born in Geneva. I got the Irish passports. So they're Irish, but obviously, like I think a lot of us now, and who we have kids born in different places, they're a mixture and feel like they're from different places, which, is a different way of growing up now. But yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, that's Rory and 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛.
And your husband, he's French?
He's not. He's actually a very a mix. He has Welsh background, British parents, so a bit of Celtic background as well. Funny story is we actually met through a friend, but we met in the Irish pub in Geneva.
Oh, wow. So in comparison, Irish pubs abroad, are they pretty much like in Ireland or completely different?
I think it depends. Like, unfortunately, I think the couple of pubs in Geneva actually closed down. The one like that we met in, and there was one across the street up in the old town. They closed down. A couple of them used to do Irish music. Well, I suppose they're different in the sense of the Guinness, doesn't quite taste the same, right? Everyone says that is in Ireland. But no, I think they do a really good job at, and there's a big Irish community, but also a lot of foreigners, enjoy going to Irish pubs as well. And when there's a bit of kill and crack, as we say, a bit of music and fun, that's all you need. So yeah.
Yeah, I found that every time I went abroad, we kind of looked for the Irish bars because you would find kind of similar people. I mean, at least they'd speak English.
Exactly.
Okay? So particularly if you're not very good at languages, then it's good to go there.
Yeah, no, totally. It's very international usually.
But I mean, I did the same in the Netherlands and other places. But then you meet the Dutch people that come in there, and then you end up in the Dutch bars and the Belgian bars and everything else. So
exactly. Yeah. No, it's really international. And I think, yeah, that was also like when I met my husband, like it was actually quite an international community and group of friends we have here in Geneva. He also lived in New Zealand for like, I think it's 14 or 15 years as well. So yeah, quite international.
So I mean, living where you are now wasn't your first stop, was it? I mean, let's just take you back, I mean, to schooling and stuff. So as you grew up, I mean, typical types of hobbies or interests that you had as a kid?
So as I mentioned, I was fortunate to go to this school like right on the coast of 𝗘𝗘𝗏. The hockey field, I played hockey. The hockey field literally was like right by the sea. So that was like just an amazing place to be able to go to school. So always, I would say always very active with sports, hockey, basketball, running, the usual stuff. The other big interest I had at school was actually debating and public speaking. I did a lot of debating with the school teams, also in Irish. Unfortunately, since moving abroad when I was 20, I actually have lost all my Irish. I understand a bit, but I wouldn't be able to hold a conversation or a debate in Irish anymore. But I did debate like politics and all sorts of things with the schools right up till I was 18. And I loved it. It was really, really good fun. I really enjoyed it, the public speaking and the Irish debating.
So what made you get into that then? Is it because you felt when someone was talking, you thought, oh, I want to kind of have a word there, and you wanted to jump in, you thought the only way to do that?
I think I was probably a lot shyer then actually than I am today. I think maybe I thought it was a good thing just to be involved in, like I'm a big team, I'm a real team player. I really believe like in the power of teams, team spirit. And, you know, I really liked the idea of being on a team, talking about interesting topics, a bit of competition I always liked. So that was really cool. And then the public speaking was more on my own as well. So that was, I think looking back now, I think, yeah, I was probably quite shy growing up. And I think it was something that really helped my confidence in terms of just speaking in front of people, right? Because it takes a lot of courage to do that. So yeah, that was kind of how I got into it. And now people say I talk too much, so.
Yeah, and why in particular politics?
Oh, well, it was kind of just, we picked different topics. I was just giving an example. It could be anything from, you know, politics to, you know, a more personal view on something or whatever. But yeah, it was really, actually, yeah, that was cool. I actually continued then after when I went to university. So
this would be in front of an audience?
Yes. So we were in front of other schools or an audience like, you know, in university as well, I did a bit. So like a public speaking club, a bit like Toastmasters. I was never in Toastmasters officially, but it's a bit that kind of concept.
But you didn't want to get into politics then?
No, I'm not a political person in a lot of senses of the word, even in companies. I like to just get on with things and work with people in a team. I'm not a political player. So have you got a particular topic that you'd like to talk about? You mean today or in...
Well, no, I mean in general. If you wanted to do a debate or a discussion or anything, would it be about something in particular?
No, I don't think so. I think it would be more like just kind of whatever comes up in the conversation.
So you're quite versed in the way that you can, depend on the conversation, you feel that you can contribute because you're quite broad knowledge on many things.
Yes, although I think nowadays with everything going on in the world, I mean, it's you're kind of broad but not specific. I mean, there's so many different things to talk about, but yeah, definitely. Okay, so through school, so some of the, besides the hockey, so when I hear hockey here, I always used to think field hockey, but they mean ice hockey. Right. But yours is field hockey. Okay, so how good were you then? Were you pretty good? Did you? Oh, no, would just say no, I was average. I mean, I was on the team. We did matches every Saturday, went off with the girls and played. I was in an all girls Catholic school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was it was good. No, it was great
So
fun.
the
I mean,
spectators were boys.
yes, definitely. And in reverse, on the other side of the, no, I'm not joking. Then on Saturdays, basically, what we did is we went to the rugby matches.
He's got his
and the
green shirt
football.
on.
He does have his green shirt. He's representing Ireland, but as I said, he's quite a mix. So the Celts. We went to rugby matches and football and all the other things we did.
All right. So what position did you play?
Oh, I can't remember, James. A long time ago.
Yeah, because I
cannot remember.
It's kind
I
of
think we changed.
Always a joke because you had like left back, right?
Yeah.
And they say like left back. I played left back, and they say where in the changing room.
Oh.
Left back in the changing room. Yeah.
I can't remember. I think we changed around. But yeah, that's what I did. I've always been kind of into sports, done different things, but I wouldn't have played hockey in years.
But then you did something. I mean, from this is you have to be pretty tough, right? And then, but you also, I see here that you wanted to be ballerina.
I did. That was my dream. I was actually thinking when Mia was singing that song. I mean, that really is like one of my all-time favorites. I mean, she was amazing. I know I'd love to hear her live, but I was like, I just love that song. Yeah, so I did ballet up until about the age of, I think, I would say 13 or 14. And then I think just with other sports and things at school, I didn't keep it up, which I actually regretted after. My daughter said the same thing to me recently as well, because she did ballet when she was small. She said, oh, Mommy, I wish I'd kept it up longer, which I could totally relate to. But yeah, it was just one of those things I didn't keep up. But that's kind of what I dreamt about doing. It's funny when you're little girl, the things you think about.
So why did you stop?
I think that just with other activities I was doing at school and then starting in university, like I just didn't keep it up. But I got into more like the other sports, outdoor sports as well, which I still like. I love the outdoors. So it was kind of just a decision time to choose different things.
So would you have liked to have been a ballerina then?
I think now, if I'd kept it up, I don't think I would have quite.
So are you quite graceful in the way that you walk then? Is it a more ballerina style? Like?
People say, I still stand like one.
Yeah.
You know?
With your toe pointing down and
exactly.
Yeah.
But no, I think it was just one of those things kind of I thought of, because you don't really know what's going to happen right in your life or in the world. Yeah. So it was just one of those dreams I had. But I still, love listening to music and.
Yeah. Because my daughter, she's 5. She's just started ballet dancing.
Oh, lovely.
And, I mean, a lot of it's not really ballet dancing at the moment. It's like learning positions and whatever. But yeah, she's so cute when she goes.
But it is, it is lovely when they start off. And I mean, I think for posture and things like that, I mean, I've done through the years yoga, Pilates. I'm still, the virtual, we didn't have classes for the last year. But, I think that kind of thing is really important. So I think it's something that even though I didn't keep up, actually my Pilates teacher is a ballet teacher.
Yeah.
So, there's different ways to continue things that you might have done when you were younger in a different way as we evolve.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the Boyan isn't on this call, so you'll probably see the recording, because I would joke about Boyan being a ballet dancer, but I can't joke about Boyan because he's not here. So yeah, you'd have to ask Paul if he was a ballet dancer. Paul, did you? Yeah. Well, looks like it. He's got some movements there.
No, right. But I've always said, Jeanette, that ballet, regardless of whether you take it further or not, it's amazing the confidence that it actually builds in all dancers. Just the presence and how to hold yourself with poise is always such a bonus.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, you're right, Isabel. Yeah, no, definitely.
I think for the posture, I mean, it's good for you because you know how to hold your body. I mean, like Pilates, yoga, and whatever. So I did start Pilates, but that's a long story, right? I'll tell you another time.
Yeah, I love yoga and Pilates. I need to do more of it, but I think it is very good for overall.
It was a very funny experience with another friend of mine, but I mean, I'll share that story another day. So because you were surrounded with music, particularly in the Irish bars and things and Irish folk songs and whatever, did you learn any instruments?
I did try and learn a couple of instruments, James, but I wasn't very good. I did not keep them up at all. I started piano and violin, but I didn't keep them up.
Right. And other kind of dancing, I mean, from ballet, did you not do any kind
Oh, I
of...
did some Irish dancing. That was great fun.
Yeah, because I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
picturing that now. I mean,
I wasn't river dance Michael Flatley level.
Yeah.
If any of you seen that, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Have any of you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
I mean, river dance, really amazing dancing. But no, I did enjoy it.
So when you say about kind of a team thing, I mean, you have to be in sync with each other when you're doing kind of this Irish dancing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't have your leg going up and they're down.
maneuvering.
Yeah. But I love it. I love the music and
Oh yeah. If it ever comes back to Geneva, I'll go. I mean, I thought about going and then it didn't come back for a while, but no, it is amazing.
Yeah, river dance. Yeah. You could start your own kind of Irish dance music, dance club.
Yeah, I don't think I'd
Online.
be quite good enough for that.
Online.
Yeah. No, but it's nice to keep the certain elements of your heritage, alive.
That's why I thought you'd be wearing
abroad.
I thought you'd be wearing a kind of a green. Like,
I know. I sometimes forget on St. Patrick's Day too. That's awful. But anyway.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
No. I sometimes forget. Actually, that's a
okay.
funny story because I was born the day before St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
So I always had the next day off school. Growing up, it was brilliant.
Mm.
It's 𝗦𝗘𝗔𝗏, so second name is Patricia.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I shared last week about living in Amsterdam and going to a football with a green shirt on. So, but anyway, so let's move on. So what made you, I mean, you got to 20 and then you decided that I don't want to live in kind of Dublin anymore. Did you live in different places or was this straight from kind of in Dublin before you moved?
No, I actually lived at home with my parents. I was in university. That's what actually happened because I was in Trinity College.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know. Yeah. So I was doing a Bachelor of Business Studies. Trinity is an amazing university, very much in the heart of Dublin City. So I was doing a Bachelor of Business Studies. And then actually, I mentioned before about languages and I loved languages. So I was doing French at school. I was doing Irish. Well, actually, I was doing business studies and marketing, and I got the opportunity to move abroad. I got a place on a scholarship program for a business school. So it's now called 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥. So it's basically one of the business schools, 𝗬𝗘𝗘𝗞, as we call them. And that took me to Paris, Oxford, and Berlin. So I was like, there was no way I was going to turn down that opportunity, right? So I left actually the 4-year program 2 years earlier than planned, but I was doing the last 2 years in parallel. So that took me to Paris, first of all, and a year in each city then. And I had to learn, I had a bit of French, but I had to really pick up French and German for my final year in Germany, in Berlin. And so, yeah, I mean, it was an amazing opportunity. I'm really grateful to have had that because really, I think deep down, looking back now, it was really something that for me was the right thing to do. I love the cultures. I love being abroad, but at that time when I was 20, I mean, I was so excited and that's really what took me abroad. And I pretty much stayed abroad then all my life. I went back a bit to Ireland after graduating. And I loved my time there, but then again with work, an opportunity came up. I was working for big companies in branding, so Mondelez at the time, and I moved to England. And that was kind of really the start of my marketing career. So yeah, to answer your question, that was really what took me abroad. It was really the opportunity that came up. So I grasped it.
So it must have been strange to say to your parents that I'm moving to Paris.
Yeah, I think I won't. I think I'll only really understand that in a couple of years when maybe my son and daughter have to move away for studies, right? And I know some of you probably have children who've been in that situation, but I think you don't really realize. It's like one of those things where I'm like, oh yeah, someday, but I know it'll happen. And I think thinking about that actually, at the time, my parents were just amazing. I mean, they really encouraged me and supported me. And I'm sure deep down, like I would be, there's a part of the parent that says, oh, please don't go, you know, but you know, you have to let them go, right? And they were amazing, and they really supported me with that, even though they knew that I was probably going to move abroad, you know, for indefinitely.
So you've seen some great cities then. So Paris to start with, and
Paris, then Oxford.
Oxford, yeah, very nice.
But then actually what happened was I didn't speak German. So in my second year of my internship program, we were working for 3 months in companies, which was great because it was a very practical oriented master's program. I had to learn German. So I went to Hamburg without knowing anyone, and I worked on Unilever for 3 months. And then I went back the year of my master's and worked for Beiersdorf on Nivea. So amazing brands and opportunities. And yeah, I loved my time there. My finals then were in Berlin. So it meant by the time I got to Berlin, I actually spoke some German, which, you know, was like really important because I had to do my master's in that year. So yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to go back yet to those cities, and I know they've changed a lot.
Yeah. So they provided accommodation, everything for you?
No, I had to organize all that. I had to find my internship through my master's program, find everything. It was pretty much like, yeah, you're just on your own to do that. But, you know, then I went back and did my finals in Berlin. But the middle part where I went to Germany was really to help me learn German and start my marketing experience, which I really wanted to do.
Okay. So yeah, Isabel has to drop off. She's got another call. So
thank you, Isabel, for joining. Speak to you soon.
Okay, but you can catch up on the rest of the recording, right? Yeah. So anyway, so in Berlin, what year were you there?
95 to 96.
Right, because I went for the very first time in 89.
Oh wow, that was just before.
That was actually just after
the wall.
Down. And I walked through the Brandenburg Gate with Queen Beatrix from the Netherlands.
Wow.
I thought, who's that fancy woman over there? And someone said it's Queen Beatrix. I thought, who's she?
That's amazing.
And
have you been back since?
Yeah, I went back many times since and completely changed. If someone put me in the East, I wouldn't know if I was in the West. It just all looks the same. Okay,
because when I was there, my sister was actually there at the same time, and she's an architect. She was working there as an architect. And I remember, you know, going places with her like Potsdamer Platz, where there was nothing. And then my son went back on a school trip 2 years ago, and I showed him on Google Maps, and I couldn't believe that there was a whole city, you know, there. I don't know if anyone else with us today, Lorraine or Paul or Marjolaine, have been to Berlin, but this was 95, 96. And then my son was going back. And so it was amazing just to see the transformation of a much more modern city.
Yeah.
But a lot of culture and history, amazing place.
Yeah, we normally have Ida on this, and Ida's living in, I mean, she's on the Entnest team, and she lives in Berlin, but originally from Sweden.
Yeah, no, I'd love to go back someday.
Finland, Sweden.
But yeah, then that was Germany. Then I went back. Oh, then I went back briefly to Dublin. But I moved with Mondelez from Dublin to Cheltenham. So the Cheltenham races, as you know.
Yeah.
A lot of you will know the Cheltenham races. Lovely place as well. And then I got the opportunity to move to London. But this was actually a European marketing role with Gillette. And obviously, you know, everyone knows Gillette. And this was for me, like a really great opportunity also to work in a European headquarters in marketing. So that was in London.
Yeah, so your study was all around kind of what you're doing now. I mean, basically, it was around marketing, branding, and stuff like that.
Yes. However, it's evolved immensely since my time at Gillette, Mondelez, Procter & Gamble, which are like amazing companies in terms of marketing and learning kind of the, you know, the on the ground, all about the brand strategy, working with creative agencies, everything I'm doing today. But to come back to the point, it's related to what I do today, but today is on a much wider level because it's still about the customer experience and the brand experience, but it's much more than just in store. Whereas the first part of my career was very much focused on building brands and visibility. Advertising. I was working with ad agencies on amazing advertising campaigns, working on in-store materials. We did consumer insights. All of that but we were helping the markets that I worked with on a European level by providing all of that guidance and strategy and tools for implementing it in store. But nowadays I'm working with, agency 𝗪𝗘𝗧, customer experience. We're the leading agency in the DACH region. And it's still about the brand, but it's much more, because it's much more about the experience and linking the online with the offline. There's so many more elements to the consumer journey and touch points now. So I think my background has really, really helped and helps every day on what I'm doing now, but it's definitely evolved in terms of digital and transformation.
Exactly. So, I mean, also with the traveling, you've learned some languages. So you speak what languages?
So I speak English, Irish is in the back of my mind somewhere, German and French. So
Right.
yeah, I speak German and French because I lived in those countries, although my kids, because they're bilingual, do correct me sometimes still in French. But yeah, like.
And for business now, what's the main language?
Actually English.
Okay.
Yeah, actually moving, Geneva has always been, in my roles, I've always spoken English to mainly in the office or with my clients, colleagues and friends, even though they're actually, because they're mainly I've been in multinationals, and now I'm in a digital customer experience agency. So it's very international. But if I have colleagues, like yesterday, I was on a call also with a client, I speak a bit of German when I get the opportunity, or French as well. And it's great to be able to do that. I think I also remind my children as well how lucky they have been to grow up bilingual, like some of our children. It's a huge advantage.
Yeah. So you worked directly with some of the big name brands. So you mentioned Gillette and others. So
yes,
these were directly with them. So it wasn't through an agency. So now in an agency, these are your clients, I guess, these type of businesses.
exactly.
So maybe you can just say a few of the types of clients that you worked with, because you mentioned Gillette. So
Sure.
who else did you work with?
So yeah, I started off with, as I mentioned, when I went to Hamburg, with Nivea and Unilever. Beiersdorf is Nivea brand. But then Mondelez was all the coffee brands, UK and Ireland. Then like Kenco, Maxwell House, really well-established coffee brands. With Gillette, actually, I don't know if many people know this, but the original Gillette business had 4 major businesses and brands underneath it. So there's the Gillette business itself, so the shaving and beauty care business. There's Duracell batteries. There's Braun, the German company. Wow. Braun brand, yeah. And also Oral-B. So they were the 4 like original Gillette companies. So when I joined, I worked for 5 or 6 years across all those businesses. And moving to Geneva then, soon after, I moved with Gillette, with the headquarters. Then Procter & Gamble acquired Gillette. And since they don't own all the brands anymore. But I then moved to pet food as well. So I worked on Eukanuba and Iams, amazing people, vets and breeders, and that whole world of working with pet food as well. So that was kind of it within the Procter & Gamble Gillette time. I was also with HP for a couple of years, working on basically the consumer business of the computers at the time. Also like really interesting in terms of technology company to work with. And then I actually then worked with Nestle, but as my client. So up until like 5 years ago, I was with major multinationals I was like, yeah, the client as I am now. So I've come from that side. And then I worked with Nestle as a client on e-commerce and product e-content and digital transformation for nearly 4 years. So, and then I'll come on to where I am today, but having that background in terms of brands, I think has really helped, I think, shape everything we do today in terms of customer experience, because I've come from understanding the brands at a much broader level. And so, yeah, I work not directly like with people I worked with at that time, but nowadays, yeah, the brands would be my clients. And because I've had that other experience, it does certainly help me have an understanding of what they may be looking for and need as well.
Yeah, so we have something in common, because also with Johan, who's the founder of Ntnest, he worked for many years with Procter & Gamble. So about 20 years
Ah,
for Procter & Gamble.
I don't know. What's his
in
name?
Geneva.
James?
Johan Frazen.
Okay, I don't know Hanya yet. Okay.
Okay, so
All right, I'll have to
also
check.
my brother works for Procter & Gamble
Oh, where?
in the UK. So he's
Oh,
responsible for all the supermarket chains in the UK for all the Gillette, Braun, Duracell products.
Really? Oh, wow.
So he was their #1 sales guy forever. I mean, he's won so many awards. He's been to Singapore on these special events and whatever because he's the #1 sales guy.
Okay. No, I mean, Gillette is such a strong brand. I think anyone who's had the opportunity to work on it, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I end up like these Braun shavers and things at home and whatever, because you got like a garage full of them. You get some little free samples and stuff. So when I'm there, like looking around Aladdin's cave and think, oh, what can I take home?
Was he with Gillette originally then, before Procter & Gamble
No,
as well? No.
straight.
Okay.
I mean, with other companies, and then he went to Procter & Gamble.
All right. No, I mean, amazing. I'm still in contact with a lot of the Gillette people from that time and P&G. So yeah.
So now that you're in, maybe explain a bit more about what you're doing now,
Merkel.
but also for any of the audience to join in, because I don't want to run out of time and you're never asked a question.
Sure, that would be great. So now I'm with Merkel, which is the leading customer experience agency in the DACH region, so Germany, Austria, Switzerland. We've actually gone through a really exciting time. We've merged two leading agencies, Isobar, where I was with before, with Namix, which is a leading marketing performance agency. So now we're really all around the customer experience, which combines digital and data, insights, creative, and it really brings everything together. So we're basically like a full service agency that can do pretty much anything from start to finish across the touch points on customer experience. So for me, it's actually really great because it finally brings together all of the experience I've had working on brands over the years. And obviously with digital now, we're evolving all the time, linking, we talk about phygital, linking the in-store physical experience with digital. So yeah, it's really cool. And I'm delighted to be able to also work with like really amazing creative people, designers, developers, consultants. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So
I think Paul's got a question.
Why do you say that?
Well, because you came off mute.
Oh, okay. No, I just find it fascinating. I mean, the whole branding thing it's fascinating. I get to deal with, in South Africa, I get to deal with a lot of people that are secondary brands, so they're not Gillette, they're not Nestle. They're kind of like 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛𝗥 or whatever it is. But, it's easy to build a big brand. A brand that big is already going. You kind of like have to manage the customer experience and all that kind of thing. But how do you deal with the smaller, finicky brands, if you will? I mean, do you have any experience with that?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question, Paul. Thank you. I've worked with startups. So I was working on like a Swiss medical brand for a while. Actually, ironically, it was actually an antiviral face mask 10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. And I helped develop the whole brand identity, digital, everything, but packaging. So yeah, I mean, I think there's some of the same principles, but obviously, I think one of the things you need to be conscious of is when we're not working on big brands, because I've worked with smaller ones as well. I hadn't mentioned them actually until you asked the question. With startups, is that there's not a lot of usually budget available. You also have to be smart about what you're doing. Whether there's distributors, how you can build capabilities among the team. What materials are going to make the most impact, whether you can repurpose something or you have to create it, and finding like smart ways to do things. So I think there's definitely things that you can still do to help a small brand, but you have to start small. And I think my thing when I've been working with smaller brands has really been to understand, who are the customers? What do you need to do to approach the customers? It could be that it's much more personal a level that you're actually going to see them. Whereas today we're selling a lot online. But yeah, I think you can still do a lot with, you know, a more focused approach for smaller brands. But for sure, I mean, I think nowadays with startups, there's been amazing stories coming out of the countries, even during, you know, the whole coronavirus COVID situation. You know, retailers, startups, food delivery, all of these. And, you know, I don't know about a lot about the South African market in terms of startups, but I read all the time about Ireland. There's been huge success stories of technology companies as well, with funding as well. So I think once people like get the right concept that's appealing and, you know, they have a really strong idea, I think if you can get it in front of people, even friends and family, word of mouth, and, you know, also investors, that's like really, really powerful.
Jeanette, you could ask Paul a question. You could ask him why
Yeah.
he asked the question.
Yeah, I was good. That's very good. I was actually going to. Yeah. So yeah, Paul, in terms of where you are in your business or people you know, is there something that you think we could help with, or I could help with?
Thinking aloud, you know, I'm going to go backwards. I think I've been with Entities about a year now. With James, we go back about a year now. And only just recently, just by the way, he invited me to become a guest. So I thought, you know, it took a long time to build that.
I invited you all the time.
But anyway, but be that as it may, you know, the reason I asked the question is we have the Gillettes and we have the Nestlés in South Africa. We have the Fords and the big companies. I actually didn't know that they were under the same banner, Braun and Gillette. I didn't know that. I've learned that this afternoon. But,
Okay.
but you know, we have a couple of smaller companies that we've been invested into, like, and they need to build their brand. Now, they can build their brand in South Africa, which is one cost center, if you like, and they could possibly, in some cases, not all of them, but some, you know, like 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥. I don't know if you've heard of 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥, South African. So that has a brand possibility, kind of like health, and wellness, and all this kind of thing. But you know, do we choose very specific markets, or do we choose broader? You know, we go broad and say, "Hello, world, this is 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥."
Yeah, because there's a lot of, I mean, I'm very familiar with it in terms of a tea. There's a lot of brands that they're already. So my thing to you would be, how do you develop, or what is the, you know, the USP, the unique selling proposition? What's different compared to everyone else? Because there's quite a lot in the category. So yeah, I'd love to hear more about it. If I can, from a marketing or a consumer perspective, I can offer any help or advice, let me know.
On the 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥 side, I would have to do some research. I'm not personally involved with that one.
Sure.
But I think, yeah, what it is it's a healthy tea. So instead of drinking an unhealthy tea, this is a healthy tea. It's got a different taste, but it's got a whole lot of benefits. And it's already been sold in Sweden and stuff, so it's not a new product per se.
No, but it could be a new brand.
Yeah, exactly. So then you have several 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥 tea brands. So then you also have to compete against those brands. So it becomes, we'll have to talk privately. You know,
yeah, no, sure. Let me know if I can help with even with any ideas.
Yeah, so me and Janet come as a pair, you see. She'll help
That's
with the
true.
brand and I'll help with the growth.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Okay. So, yeah, was there any other questions from anyone else, like Marilyn or Lorraine?
Oh, I
see
just
a message from-
mentioned in the chat that I have to go. I have another meeting to attend to. But thank you very much for sharing your story. I had a great time joining this week. Have a great weekend and hopefully see everyone on Endnest.
Thank you, Marjolaine, for joining. I'll connect with you.
Yeah, definitely. Have a great weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
So I've
And
put,
yeah, Lorraine?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how relevant it is. My daughter's set up a startup. She's doing really well with it, but the co-founder dropped out. They had some problems, and now she wants a new name for it. It's like new branding. It's been going a year, and I don't know what you think about that, whether that's a good idea to have a new name after a year. I mean, she's looking for funding now, and quite a lot of like people have gone on board with it. It's artificial intelligence together with human rights. She's a human rights lawyer.
Oh, interesting combination. Wow.
Yeah. So she has some brilliant ideas. And so it was a very big dilemma when this other woman stepped out. And so she wants to change the name. I don't know what you think about that, which is in a dilemma whether to do that.
I think it depends how long it's been established. Like
it's a year old, and she has sort of like Lausanne University and quite some big names on board to get some fun.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm happy to connect on that or connect with her on it. I would just I think it depends on if you've got big people on board. It could actually kind of give a revival to the brand because she's repositioning it. People might wonder why after such a short time, but if it helps reposition it in the right direction, there's no reason why not. It's still early enough to do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good word, actually, repositioning. Yeah, that's a good word.
What's the current name?
Well, the current name was actually set up by the co-founder who stepped out, and it's called 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥, which is, I think, Swedish for woman, because it's to do with in the whole pandemic, she set up an app to help women with domestic violence, because you know how that became a huge issue. And now people are talking about it, but the app is actually ready to go, and she's trying to get funding for it. But she wants to change the name anyway, because she thinks 𝗬𝗢𝗨 doesn't tell you anything. She wants to call it Spring Tech, because her name's Spring and it's about tech. And I think it's a really good name, but she's just wondering if that's a good idea. And she has some really good people, good advisors on board and stuff. But
okay, I think the name has to tell people what it does. And there's so many apps out there also for, I'm happy to even if run ideas by me or whatever, but I think it needs to definitely be clear about what it does with the name of the.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Jeanette, do you, I know you work for a company, but do you offer any kind of advice like outside of that? If like in a case like this, would you offer some?
I can do that. Just it's the kind of thing I do. It's kind of how I'm a big believer in helping within the network and sharing expertise and ideas. And I do within my network also. Generally, I'm a member of different network women associations. So it's just the kind of thing I do, like to help people. So I'm happy to do that.
But also, I was taught, I mean, I did some branding before, and I was taught that you should always brand there's different methodologies and different ideas, but I was told that where it is you want to get someone. So what is it that I want to achieve? And then your brand should reflect that. Now, but that's just one school of thought. Others just think a random name, and then you build your message around the name. Because you see something, Apple, I mean, what does Apple mean? But if you mention Apple, it's one of the biggest brands on the planet. So that could be a different school of thought. But I mean, people said, when I was taught that you should have like visibility impact. I want to create visibility so you can make an impact. So I'm helping people make visibility and then an impact. So it depends. I mean, there's lots of different ways you can think about things. So if you look at, it's best just to get a bit of paper also and just write in the middle what it is that you're doing. What is it that you help people achieve? And then brainstorm around it with loads of different words and ideas. What words would relate to this? I mean, women, empowering them, whatever. And then you'll end up with a big piece of paper with a load of things on it. And then you could actually run a survey as well. Online survey. Lots
I
of
mean,
different ways.
the 𝗘𝗔𝗓 was already a group in Zurich, a Swedish group, for originally for Swedish speaking women, and then it extended to become international, though they just carried on with the name. So
Yeah. But anyway, back to Jeanette. So Jeanette, you still there?
I am.
Right. So we've taken you kind of through your story. You've lived in many different countries. You've had extensive experience working with big branded companies. You now work for an agency that works, I guess, primarily with the bigger brands, or is it across the board? You have different groups that you work with,
We
different
work
size.
across, bigger industry. So we work across luxury, consumer goods, banks, insurance companies. It's quite diverse. But I think, it also depends just on, I think, what the client is looking for. So a lot of different projects. It could be strategy, branding. It could be a website creation. A lot of e-commerce projects as well.
So do you do everything in-house, or do you also outsource?
No, we have basically, because Merkel is part of a bigger agency network called Dentsu. It was originally 𝗬𝗢𝗥𝗏 network. We have different agencies also within our network, like we have media agency, there's a creative, but within our Merkel DACH region, we do everything like in-house in terms of, we have a creative team, I'm in the customer experience consulting team. Then I work with creatives, designers, developers. So yeah, we have everything in-house in terms of our like structure and organization.
Okay, so for you personally, do you work in a particular industry sector or a?
No, across everything really. It's quite diverse. I mean, my role is quite diverse. I think because of my experience, I can help on strategy, brand identity, all the creative. I love working with the creative team. I work on e-commerce. After my work with Nestle, I built up that content. So it's very diverse.
Okay.
And we can be working across different clients as well. So I think that's also what makes it really interesting. So
yeah, your clients,
healthcare.
Yeah. Okay, so it could be, I mean, they wouldn't just say, right, you just work in the pharma or in the healthcare or in the technology.
I mean, there are account directors sometimes who are industry specific, but because I've worked on so many different brands and industries, I mean, it makes sense that I can kind of jump in on different projects. And I think that's what makes it really interesting actually as well.
So in your position, are you in a group leader type position?
No, I don't. I'm like, at the moment, I don't have a team. I'm not a manager of a team. I'm not a team leader, but I am a team leader in the sense of, like leading a project across the company.
Okay.
So like with creatives, with project managers, etc.
Okay. So just a little bit, I know we're going on a little bit over time here, but a bit of fun here.
Yeah.
So you did your own interview yourself. So you were the host this time for someone in your company.
That's true.
Do you want to share that?
Wait, which one are you referring to? Hang on.
The CEO.
Oh, the CEO, and I did that one recently. Yeah, I was approached by, the reason I ask is I've been helping out with some webinars for the company, which actually been really good experience and good fun as well. And then recently I was asked to interview our CEO, a wonderful woman, 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥, also with the Chief Marketing Officer, Christiana Wolf, and a number of other people, ladies, on a panel. And it was fantastic. So yeah, it was a really great honor to be able to interview her, all about her career and experience. So it's kind of, a funny story how it evolved. But, after being a year in the company, I've tried to also step in with, extra, I wouldn't call them extracurricular activities, but kind of beyond my core role to work with people, outside my team. And this has really, I think, really been interesting, and it's great fun because it's, it really helps across the company, I think, share expertise. And that was a really good way, I think, to actually, I got to meet the CEO. I mean, we did a virtual interview, but a really great opportunity to actually get to know the CEO I haven't actually met. Yeah, so it was super.
And it was recorded?
Yes, it was an internal event, so it wasn't shared externally, yes.
All right. So how do you like being kind of the host of a show?
Yeah, I like it actually. I think it also is really good for like confidence and kind of asking yourself questions, maybe a bit of
Yeah.
self-questioning when you're put on the spot.
Yeah. So if
But
I
yeah,
can't,
it's good fun. I think that I try and be natural also in the webinars that I've run,
yeah.
rather than being, you know, really like getting stressed about it. That'd be one of my tips, is try and be like natural and relaxed. Let the conversation flow.
A bit like this now.
Yeah. Cool.
See,
Really nice.
see, I don't script anything, although I do send a questionnaire out. That's just kind of to steer the conversation, so I have a bit of background. And
Yeah,
also
and you knew me a little bit already because we met just for Lorraine and Paul. We met James, I think, a year and a half ago now at a session in Geneva. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also good because then there's things that could be a taboo area, don't go there. And if you've already asked and they said, please don't go there, then it avoids any embarrassment as well.
Yeah, that's a good tip. So if Lorraine and Paul are doing it in future, but I think it's just nice to have a chat and share kind of a bit your story with others. And there's always things, like you were saying, Paul and Lorraine, and there's always, James and I were talking about before, always connections and things that you can help with, which, you know, I think really is a nice way to support people in your network as well.
Yeah. And actually, once you start doing these, it becomes fun. And the way why I do it and make it interactive is that you're already familiar with it before it's your turn. So like Lorraine, you're the guest next week. So you're not coming into it cold. Right. And Paul is going to be soon as well.
Oh,
so
great. Looking forward.
Right. So you're not just on the spot and think, oh dear, I'm nervous and I'm scared of this. You're relaxed already. It's just like us talking now.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's been really nice just to talk about different things that you actually don't really think of for many years and they come back to you.
Okay, so this is recorded. So there are people that couldn't make it today that did want to see it. So there's people like Pete in the US, that he's a branding guy. He does his own thing. He used to work many years at Coca-Cola and he wanted to be on. So no doubt he can see the recording. There's Boyan that couldn't make it, that wanted to see it. So there are a few people that will probably catch up with you later. But I put your LinkedIn profile in the chat. So if people want to connect to you, they can. But
already done that.
Yeah.
Great.
So are there any kind of closing comments or remarks, or you want to give us as a takeaway or anything?
No, I would just say, just to, you know, for people, for Lorraine and Paul and the others who joined today, or anyone who listens to this after, you know, just reach out if there's any questions or I can help you in any way. I'm a big believer in that, actually, the power of the network, helping each other. And, you know, it's kind of, as James said, you know, it is really good fun, but it's just kind of something I do. And I think nowadays it's really more important than ever to help each other and share in any way we can. So yeah, that's kind of my mantra.
Okay, so if I can't make a week, can you cover me?
Yeah, sure.
Right. Okay. So maybe you have to cover me with Paul or something like that. So if
don't you dare.
Okay. No. Okay. So I'm just thinking more that once you become more accustomed to doing this, it's great fun. And then we could even extend this out to like people that have been on the show to do kind of a panel thing. So
yeah, definitely.
I have to go, sorry.
Yeah, I have to go as well.
Okay, Lorraine.
Thank you for the extra time, everyone.
Okay,
I know we ran over.
We'll see you next week, Lorraine. I'll send.
Yeah, shall I send you any info? You haven't contacted
me? I will send you a questionnaire and stuff.
Thank you for joining, everyone.
Yes, nice to hear.
All right.
Thanks, James, for setting it all up, and thank you for joining.
Bye.
Yeah, no problem. And Paul, thanks as always for coming on.
Yeah.
And
thank you, Paul. And let me know if I can help as well with anything on that question on Robo.
I've just linked with you on LinkedIn. Maybe we should check. I'm not sure. Let's see.
Right.
Cool. But James, yeah.
Okay.
So well, thanks a lot.
So Jeanette, it was an absolute pleasure having you as our 52nd guest.
Wow, an honor. Thank you.
Right. And yeah, if you want, I am planning a book of all the guests. So all the guests will then be featured in a book with their story. So
wow, are you writing all the stories up, James? Or
no, you have to. No, you have to do your own.
Oh, great! I'd love to. That's a
right?
great idea.
And then there'll be, I don't know, 10 or 15 or whatever per edition. And then we'll make it a bestseller by everyone contributing to getting it out there. And then everyone has the story in the book.
That's lovely.
Not everyone's up for that. So there's lots of people now, I'm not bothered
Sure.
about that. But for the ones that are, then it could be something magical.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. That's a great idea.
All right. So on that note, it's just you and me.
Yeah, he's gone.
Well,
Bill.
We started
Okay, well,
with
thanks
us.
a lot, James. It was great fun chatting.
Yeah.
And
For me, it's also a great pleasure because we knew each other more on a business level and to get to know each other more on a personal level.
yeah, now you know some of my secrets.
Yes. Okay, I've got the kids now coming in.
Oh,
right?
hi, they're cute.
Right.
Hi.
Can we go go-karting?
Maybe. Right. Anyway,
Wow.
they want to go. They went go-karting with a friend's birthday. Now they love
Oh,
it.
no, it's an everyday thing.
But it's not cheap.
No, you can
Okay.
as a treat. Thank you so much, James. We'll follow up on
welcome.
everything.
So I will
It was
send
really
you.
good fun.
I'll also send you this recording.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks. I hope you did.
Yeah, you're welcome, and you can share it with like family and stuff as well.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. It was
You're
really good.
welcome. All right.
Speak to
Have
you
a great
soon.
weekend.
You too. Bye. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Bye.